Hello guys, this is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary over some Overwatch gameplay footage. I know a lot of you were probably hoping for some more Halo footage on the channel, but to be quite honest with you, Overwatch has just gripped me from the get-go, and I really want to get the most out of it whilst the beta is running, and I just can't seem to get enough of this title. For me, a lot of the FPSs that have been releasing in recent years have felt a little bit like cardboard cutouts. It felt a little bit like they were by the numbers. Not every shooter. Of course, there's going to be your exceptions. You know, I really enjoyed Halo 4. I think Halo 5, in many ways, is a very well-made game, and obviously has a lot of passion put into it, but just in some aspects, in terms of the level design, in terms of the, amount of thought put into each individual gameplay mechanic, it seems like they were kind of made using, stock charts and made using target audiences. We've got to put this gameplay mechanic because this will meet the 16 to 20-year-old demographic. And that's just been something that's kind of frustrated me because, when I was a kid and I used to play my games, I used to love the amount of charm and the amount of passion that seemed to be put into these games. When you go back quite a few years ago, I feel like gaming was such a burgeoning industry that it was a little bit more of an open platform, and these big publishers, they weren't necessarily able to pick and choose who they were going to bring on board and exactly how they were going to tailor their game to the market, so they kind of had to put their faith in the developers. And I think as a result, you had some make or break moments, and you had people who clearly put their blood, sweat and tears, and they just wanted to make the perfect game. They wanted to show why gaming was an industry worth looking into. And now that gaming is a little bit more established, I think we take a step back from that in some ways. And in some ways, it's good because when you have a title that's been well made and it has the right ideas behind it and the right people behind it, there's so much production and so much budget that goes into it that it can turn out being a masterpiece. But for every masterpiece, you get 10 kind of shill games that are a little bit like, devoid of any charm or aesthetic, and that can be a shame, but Overwatch just seems to completely turn that on its head for me, and I think this is an example of a potential masterpiece that has been created due to a portion of passionate people putting towards a game that just seems to be brimming with charm and, just enjoyment in general, and I really like that. The character that I'm using in this game is Junkrat. He's a little bit of a nutter, to be honest, and that's kind of how I like him. I don't really like playing, the generic hero-type characters. I'm a little bit of a hipster in that regard, you might call me. I just like kind of going crazy and causing chaos. And there's quite a few characters that can do that in this game. Reaper being one of them, I would say, with his, dual-barreled shotguns. But Junkrat is just the epitome of chaos. He's got this grenade launcher, he's got these bombs, sticky bombs that he can throw out, and then he has this, explosive, kind of like an RCXD car, but it's like this, hedgehog spirally thing, armadillo, I don't know my animals well enough, I'm an idiot, apparently. But nonetheless, if he finds a good flanking route, if he finds a good opportunity, finds a hole in the player's defense, he can literally wreak havoc, and his weapon actually seems pretty powerful. I find it really fascinating to, think about which characters are potentially going to get nerfed, which characters are going to be more powerful. From first impressions, Junkrat seems like he doesn't have too many weaknesses. On the loading menu, it said you want to kind of get above Junkrat, because if he has to shoot up at you, it's a little bit worse, but he has so many bullets, and the amount of damage they do, if they do hit, it just hasn't seemed to be too much of a weakness for me. And I also find that, depending on the level and the I was going to say a really fancy word, but I'm going to go with the easier word. If you have a level with steep inclines, it can be a little bit different for each character, each character's strengths and weaknesses. I think some characters really perform better, Reaper needs his flanking route, and he needs to be able to get up close to the enemy, so you don't want to play him on a slightly more open level, and the same kind of goes for Junkrat. But then you have your characters that kind of need the open space, that they thrive on it, such as the sniper, whose name escapes me, but she has a French accent. This annoys me, I would remember it any other day of the week. Black Widow. Widowmaker, something like that. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of something to take into mind. I think it's going to be really beneficial to you to have different characters for different levels. And then of course you get those games where like no one's playing a medic class, for example, or no one's playing a support class. So I think it just helps to have some variety, and it's really fun bouncing between all the different characters. Although I think there's so much love put into each character, and there's a lot to get out of them, because although on paper, some of the gameplay might seem a little bit cyclical, and it might seem like it kind of has a feedback loop to it, I think they do such a good job of the animations, of the sound effects. For example, each time when he reloads his gun, Junkrat this is, it makes this ching noise, and it just keeps you going. It's something really small, it doesn't need to be there, but it just keeps you engaged and gives you that little bit of buzz to keep going and say, you know what, I want more. And then of course you've got the supercharging at all times, and I just find that quite exciting. You know, the aesthetic for me, though, personally, is going to be just what keeps bringing me back. Just looking at this fantastic looking game. I actually made a comparison in my head the other day to Time Splitters 2. It just seems to have like that range of characters, and they seem really quirky and well designed, and the gameplay in terms of like how fun it is, but how stress-free, I guess. You know, in FPSs they can get a little bit hardcore, a little bit intense, but this is a game that really takes the edge off. It's kind of all exciting and cartoony, reminds me of DreamWorks or Pixar, and it's just really fun to chill out and get a team going and really, you know, shoot up some people. And I enjoy that. So yeah, I'm definitely still enjoying my time with the game. I'm going to be really upset when the beta comes to an end, but I'll probably go back to Halo 5 for the meantime. But yeah, right now I'm just enjoying shooting people's heads off, essentially, in the world of Overwatch. And I definitely advise you guys check out Junkrat. Reaper is another character that I am using quite extensively. He seems to be pretty popular on the console version of the game, not so sure on the PC. And then for a bit of fun, Hanzo with his bow and arrow is really enjoyable. He can like free run up any obstacle. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. He just holds A and can jump up literally anything, which basically means that he seems like kind of, it makes Widowmaker seem kind of inferior in comparison, because she has to hook shot and there's quite a lot of delay to it, and her sniper is just a little bit harder to maneuver around and not put yourself in too bad positions. Hanzo definitely has a lot more maneuverability in that respect. But those are the characters I advise for the meantime. I'm finding them really fun, and I intend to get gameplays with them as I keep going on with the beta. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little commentary, this update to my Overwatch career, and let me know if you guys want to see more, if you want to see Halo videos. I'm down for anything. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.